From Green Building Pro, this is GreenTalk. I'm Jenica Egan, editor of Green Building Pro, and with me today is author and architect Eric Corey-Fried. Thank you for joining me today, Eric.
Oh, my pleasure. Great to be here.
So Eric, as the author of several books, including Green Building and Remodeling for Dummies, what do you suggest as the key questions for property owners to ask of their potential designers and builders to do a green retrofit?
I think for most people the question is not why they should go green. I think they understand the why. Most people seem to be aware of the environmental crisis. I think the question is how. And that's really what I've been hoping to do with all these books, is really show people the how and give them the tools that they need to just go and do it. And those are the types of questions that usually come up. Most people don't need to be convinced of, the need to save money and save energy. They already like those ideas. But the how is the critical part.
Many designers, consumers, and homeowners are concerned about the high cost of a green retrofit. So what do you suggest as the most cost-effective, sustainable implementation of green retrofits that won't break the bank?
On existing buildings, it's really easy. In fact, existing buildings are probably the low-hanging fruit for most of us. We build a lot of new buildings, but that's nothing compared to the existing building infrastructure. So, where do you want to start? You want to start with homes?
Yeah, let's start with homes.
Okay, well, in homes, let's talk about water. You can save water easily by switching out shower heads, switching out faucets, taking an empty 2-liter plastic soda bottle, rinsing it out and filling it up and putting it in the back of your toilet tank. These things are all things that can be done in an afternoon, and they cost very little, if nothing. On the energy side, there's programmable thermostats, turning down your water heater to a reasonable temperature, being smarter about the zones of your house. If you have an upstairs thermostat and a downstairs thermostat, using those to your advantage, because heat rises, so maybe you don't need to turn the heat on upstairs if you don't need to. There's lots of simple things that are just more behavioral than anything else that don't cost money. And then if you want to spend a little bit of money, there's, of course, insulation and caulking and sealing around windows. All these things are simple to do, and they're kind of easy weekend projects. If you want to talk about the office, we can talk about that too, but that's another whole thing.
So Eric, you mentioned in your Green Building and Remodeling for Dummies book that spending more time in the planning and design phase will save money in the long run, but I felt in my certain construction project that it was more of a way for my architect to make more money. So can you explain to the average consumer about how this will be more cost effective?
Well, it's funny you mention that because as I'm an architect and we charge the clients a fixed fee because I wanted to avoid that whole idea that if we just plan a little better, then I'm making more money. So that's one way around it is change your contract with your architect and your contractor. But perhaps I guess a better way to look at it is that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and I think that's probably the better way to think about it. If we're smarter about, let's say, the walls and what dimension they are, we can reduce the amount of waste later on in construction. So here's why. Most walls are built 16 inches on center, right? Just studs placed every 16 inches on center. Well, then why don't we make them some module of 16 inches? Because if not, then when we get to the end, then you're going to have this little extra stud to kind of fill in the extra space. So that's one simple way of just being smarter about the units. If we're building a building out of brick, let's make it some module of 8 inches, which is a brick. If we're building it out of concrete block, let's make it some module of 16 inches. Let's just be smarter about these modules. If you're designing a bathroom and you know you're going to use 4-inch tiles throughout the bathroom, let's make the walls some equal installment of 4 inches, so that way you don't have to cut and get that stupid little sliver of a tile in the end. All these things create more waste, create more work, and ultimately waste more money. So that's where just a little bit of smarter planning can really save a lot in the long run.
So once a property owner is ready to implement a project, where do they go about assembling a green team that will make their project really cost effective and efficient?
Well, there's a bunch of ways. That perhaps the easiest way to start is just to look at what they're spending money on, what's costing them money, and I think that starts to set priorities of what they should target first. I was working on a large office building, an existing building that was built in the 70s, and they were spending, I think, $15,000 a month on steam. They were buying steam delivered to the building for heat, and they were doing it year-round even when they didn't need heating. And we realized that if we were just smarter in replacing the radiators with something more efficient, that they could cut that bill in half right away. So those are the kind of projects that pay for themselves quickly. Usually what happens is that people are paying for things that they've never measured before. So we just start to get them in the habit of monitoring these things so that way we can manage them better. That's probably the best place to start. If you're looking for professionals, if you want to do a LEED project, there's a list of LEED accredited professionals online. There's a list of Energy Star raters online. These kind of things are online and available to anybody. The hard part is finding out which people are experienced and have done this before and which haven't. And for that, I would just start asking your team, asking architects, contractors. You could even ask your local government if they have a sustainability office, which most cities do now. That might be just a great place to start.
Thank you for joining me today, Eric, and I look forward to your keynote presentation at our online conference and expo on April 20th and 21st.
Oh, my pleasure. In April, I'm going to show off my new book, Green Sense for Your Home, which goes through 50 of these projects of what you can do in your house and how easy it is and what it costs, and just do it already. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
You can read more about Eric Corey-Fried, the Organic Architect, at organicarchitect.com. To find out more about the Green Building Pro Conference and Expo, visit greenbuildingpro.com.